Usually when they say testimony, we say like, oh, I was living my life this and this, so and so, like that. But my life, I want to share something that closely relates with the book, Moses, the character of Moses in the Old Testament. So I'm going to read some passages from Exodus chapter 3 and 4. We'll look into some points where he is. So just to give you an intro, Moses was looking at a burning bush at this time, and God started talking to him in there. And it starts in verse 2 of Exodus chapter 3. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. Just imagine if we relate and we were in front of a bush that is burning, imagine what would our first thought would be. We just call for help. First thing, dial 911, maybe. Afterwards, the operator will go like, 911 help, how can I help you? How would Moses respond? There's a big burning bush, ma'am. I can't get rid of it. What to do right now? And after going through discussions, he finally says, this bush is burning. I'm not able to burn it off. I'm not able to quench it off. Afterwards, he keeps going on. Then God starts speaking. He calls out from the bush, Moses, Moses. And in verse 11 he says, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? God keeps pursuing Moses to go out and save his people from Egypt. But again and again, Moses keeps telling all excuses, lot of excuses. He goes on talking about, no, I can't do this, I can't do that. And second time Moses says, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? What shall I tell them? And again, God explains a long way, and he explains how it is. You should go and tell my people. And still, Moses is not convinced. What is wrong with Moses? It's sort of like all of us. We are also like Moses many times. When God says, do what we say, God, I'll look at it this some other time. Maybe another time I'll go into, this is not my time. This is not my thing. I don't like going preaching out. I don't like standing there in church. I don't like singing. But God says, go. Each and every one of you, Emmanuel Church, is part of God's children. And he says something, you have to obey. But again, Moses keeps going on. What if they do not believe me? So my life, why I relate to Moses is, I was born and brought up in Sri Lanka. My parents are from Tamil Nadu, down south. And they came to Sri Lanka for a ministry that is still running on. And I had the trouble of going through, because we were living there with our residential visa, where we had to renew our visas every year. And that time, Lord was pushing me to come to India for greater vision and greater ministry. But what I did, for 3 to 4 years, I kept pulling off. I kept pushing it off. I said I couldn't do. I'm the only child in the family. How can I leave my father and mother and just go out? But God had other plans. He forcefully moved me out. And by God's grace, I joined a ministry. For the last 10 years, God has been using me through this ministry. Because we ask too many questions. We question God when we say, like, why is this going on? What should I do? But God is clearly giving each one of us, He speaks to us, and we keep ignoring that. Many times we do that. Just continuing the last part of Moses, he says, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since you have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." He keeps telling again. And this last time, the fifth time, Moses says, "No. Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else." And that is where God flares up in anger. But remember, in that point of God's anger, He is extremely patient. You see, Emmanuel Church, God is patient with all of us, whether we do right or wrong, anything. But when He says something and we don't do it, that is why He's still patient in saying, like, do this, do this. I asked you to do this. You haven't done yet. My takeaway this morning from this section of Moses: when God speaks, don't ask questions. Second is, listen to the voice of the Lord when He speaks to your heart. Third is, try to do whatever God says without delay. The more you delay, the more God is going to be angry. As I conclude this, I would like you to think about this, ponder upon this. As you live, every week we come to church. Every week we go on our way, we do our things as it is. But are we serious every Sunday when we do things? Do we live our lives seriously? That is my point. My name is Timothy Wells, and this is my testimony. Thank you.